Hey everybody, this is Ryan McClanahan with historythroughcards.com. I hope you're all doing very well today. So, I want to tell you a little bit about ABA star Freddie Lewis. And he's actually somebody I really think should be in the Hall of Fame. He should have been in a long time ago with the other players on his team, who happened to be Roger Brown, who's right here, and also Mel Daniels, who's right here. And this is actually a really, really cool card. It's one of my favorites in the set. Obviously, this is a 1971 Topps basketball set, and also George McGinnis. Unfortunately, I don't have the McGinnis here. I think his rookie is in the 1972 Topps, and I can't find it for whatever reason. Um, However, these guys make up the bulk of the Pacers championship teams from 1970 to 1973, and made a run in 1974 and they lost against the Utah Stars with Zelmo Beatty. However, today I want to tell you a little bit about Freddie Lewis and why I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't have his rookie here right now, his card, but I do want to show you what that looks like. So here it is. Freddie Lewis is really known as an ABA star, but he made his NBA debut on October 18th, 1966, against the Detroit Pistons, where he lost 114 to 112. And I really hated losing like that when I was playing basketball in high school. However, um, it was under the Cincinnati Royals that he was playing with Oscar Robinson, that he was only getting about 5 points per game, and I think maybe certainly a blessing in disguise was the draft, the expansion draft. Um, First, the Seattle Supersonics on December 20th, 1966, and then on January 11th, 1967, the San Diego Rockets chose Freddie Lewis, but Lewis didn't want to go with the team. He didn't report to them. Instead, what he did was he signed a contract with the Indiana Pacers under Bob Slick Leonard, who put together this amazing team that went on to the championships and actually won the championships for the ABA in 1970, 1972, and 1973. At that time, Lewis was really the glue of that team. He was chosen as the captain of the Pacers, and for good reason too, because Lewis was really said to have this easygoing personality where other ball players could go to him with any kind of problem, and he would sort out that problem or that ball player. So he was a really good clubhouse man, and at the same time, he always was found to have a smile on his face. It's kind of like an easygoing guy, but on the court, it was really kind of different. He was really kind of tough, and um, he was the 1971 ABA playoffs MVP. And not only that, he was also a three-time ABA All-Star as well in 1968, 1970, and 1972. Um, and he also was the 1974 and 1975 All-Star MVP as well. And the one thing that you would notice too, is, at least I did, was that when you're looking over the ABA all-time team, um, you're going to notice that he's got the most championships of anybody on this team, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. What I thought was kind of interesting was that um, he's one of the Pacers' all-time leaders and he's scoring about 16.6 points per game with the Pacers, and he in 1974 he loses the Western Finals against the Utah Stars, and it was then when the Pacers just kind of cleaned house and got rid of everybody, and he goes on to the Memphis Sounds, which again is a team that I've never heard about, but he was only on that team for 6 games until they traded him to the St. Louis Spirit, which again is another team I've never heard of. But I looked a little bit closer into that team, and one thing is the 1975 tops Freddie Lewis card. He really kind of very nice. The thing is, this is a really interesting team, and he does take them into the playoffs, which that team was actually really kind of not supposed to be in that in a position to be in a playoff berth because they were 20 games under 500, which I think is really kind of interesting. The thing is, this team actually did really well, better than most would had expected. He sprained his ankle in Game 4, and that's when the team they lost against the Kentucky Colonels, and then they traded him, obviously, after that. Um, he actually does really, really well in terms of playoff appearances, which I think he's got about 109 playoff appearances, which I think is really, really interesting. So he's in the playoffs from like 1970, I believe, or 1968 through the time he retires. And then he's also in 1972, he steals the ball with 20 seconds left in the championship against the Nets, and he wins the championship for the Pacers. And it's really there where he does really kind of shine too throughout a lot of the championship wins. Um, and this is one of the reasons why I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Uh, One really kind of interesting thing that I've seen um, is that I don't think the NBA really. Um, I'm not gonna say they don't care about the ABA players, but they do. I think pass them up more so than NBA players. Uh, Lewis actually he ends his career with the Pacers in I believe 1977. He signed on with the team again in 1976, and he is one of the greatest Pacers players in team history. Um, just going over my notes here, he's eighth all time, in fact, and he's probably one of the most influential ABA players in history. And so he was on the ballot in 2019, and he's still waiting to get in the Hall of Fame, which I think a lot of players are and people, fans, really want to see this, and I think at some point he will get in the Hall. Um, he's got 12,066 points, which lists him in the top six of all time as well. Um, I do like a lot of these 1971 to 1972 tops cards. Basketball really for me is a sport that I do enjoy playing. I'm not really a big fan of watching. In fact, I don't really watch a whole lot of basketball anyway, or sports to begin with. I stopped watching sports years and years ago because I thought that it may influence the way I write and evaluate ball players and all the other good stuff. Um, uh, but the one thing, if you guys are gonna collect 1971 or 1970 tops, I think these are great sets for novice collectors, or especially collectors who want to get into vintage. A lot of them are not that difficult to find. However, I have found over the last 2 or 3 years of collecting these particular cards is that um, you could come across a lot of these cards and not find them in any kind of decent condition either, because a lot of times I found that uh, the cards are off center from top to bottom, um, and sometimes you really have to kind of pay attention to the bottom border here because it can shift it down, and sometimes if you really want to find out if the card is trimmed or not, I, the easiest way to check is the back of the card and look at um, the centering on it to see if it really is. And sometimes if you're really not certain, get a card that you know is not trimmed. Like it doesn't even matter if it's a 1987 Topps baseball card because it's the same dimensions, and you can just kind of line it up that way too. And that's probably going to be your best bet to find out if these cards are trimmed. A lot of times, too, I've noticed that there is some issues with the printing of um, the names up top here, the text, the black in the text here uh, sometimes is missing on a lot of these cards, in fact, and I'm not entirely sure why that is, but and I'm not even sure if there's a premium on it either. I kind of don't think so, but centering is a major problem with a lot of these cards, and then a lot of times too, you're going to see like print bubbles um, on the lot of the backgrounds of these cards, and that can be a major distraction too. This is a really nice set, and I do really enjoy it. Uh, Again, there's a lot of Hall of Famers in the set, and a lot of players of the ABA in it as well, and the 1972, 73, and all the way through, like I believe the very late 1970s. I think the last year for the ABA I think was 1977, and the uh, the four teams that the NBA chose uh, to be administered into the league were the Denver Nuggets, the New York Nets, the Spurs as well, and the Pacers was the last team. And you only had four, like I said, you only had four clubs, but there was a $3.2 million entrance fee, and the two teams that didn't make it um, were the Kentucky Colonels and the St. Louis Spirit, which again, the Spirit have a really nice jersey, and you can see that in Freddie Lewis's 1975 Topps card. I think the 1975 Topps card is really kind of interesting as well because I think if it was a additional dimensioned card, if you will, from Topps, they might be worth more money than they are now. Again, they are it is a great set. They are really nice. The problem is the dimensions are oversized. They're not like the tall boys from the late 1960s and early 70s, or even I think 1970 six is also a tall boy issue. Um, but I think it kind of keeps those cards values down because they're kind of hard to store. But again, they are nice. I just don't have any. I wish I did. Uh, a lot of Lewis's cards are pretty cheap. In fact, a lot of the early 1970s and later on into the 1980s, a lot of these Hall of Famers cards from the NBA are really cheap. They are pretty affordable. I think the most I paid for a 1971 or 72 Topps basketball card was Rick Barry's rookie, which I think I paid like $60 for, and that yeah, that is his rookie. Um, the thing is that you can still find some of these cards cheap raw. Once you get into graded cards, that's a different story, and you will be paying, you know, pretty much a lot for these cards. That's why I say if you're really just kind of getting into vintage basketball, I would start out with these cards and just go for raw cards and decide then whether or not you want to grade them or not. Personally, I don't like grading. I only grade. I've never graded a card, and I only grab a graded card if I really need it for my collection. But uh, grading is not my thing. I really don't partake in graded cards unless I need to. It's not for me. It's not the grading company. It's the card that's really important. Um, so anyway, guys, uh, let me know what you think about Freddie Lewis and if he should be in the Hall of Fame. Personally, I think he does. I think he belongs there, and it's been a long time. I'd love to get your opinion on this. I really would. I'd love to hear your comments on my videos. And with that, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.